Hello, good afternoon. Michael Wynn, Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Welcome to the Digital Marketing Video and Podcast, where we talk about digital marketing strategies and tactics to help grow your business. Today on the show, we're going to talk about local SEO and content marketing for maximizing brand reach and influence. So really, what is local SEO and content marketing, and how can it really maximize your brand reach? What does it matter? Why should you care? Well, first of all, I think for any brand, any company who provides services to people who live in a town, this is something you need to think about. And it doesn't matter if you are a local owner of a business, or whether you are a regional brand manager for a company that has multiple locations in multiple cities in a regional area, or if you're a national brand manager with locations across multiple states throughout the United States. This idea and this concept is grossly being overlooked by many brands. So when we dive right into it, really what it's about, especially in correlation to local SEO, which really stands for local search engine optimization. So a very practical example of what this actually means is, if you've ever picked up your phone and gone to and started a search, or gone to Google and started a search, if you type in best and then you put in your city and you hit a space, you'll notice in the search bar, there'll be some pre-populated options for you to look at. That is an example of what it means to really think about local search engine optimization. Because you're putting in best and then blank, put in the city, your city, or put in the city of the location where you have a branch or a store or location. When you put that in there and then space, and what comes next, what you're seeing is the most popular searches that start with that phrase. Now, what's interesting about this is many brands completely overlook this because it really doesn't help them sell something today. And it's really short-sighted. I mean, you might as well think, if you go down the road of it's not going to help me sell a house today or a car today or a sofa today, then that type of mentality means that you're only going to be in business for like the next 48 hours. If your company or your overall plan is to be in business longer than 24 hours or 90 days, you need to really think about this play. So in order to do this, in order to show up when someone types in best, city, lunch, and then what shows up, obviously the restaurants, the locations are going to be in the map pack, but then below there you're going to see some written articles that say best Austin lunch spots or best Nashville pizza joints, whatever again is the most popular thing. You're going to have those, what I would call organic rankings, that are below the maps, the paid advertisements, the TripAdvisor. Once you get below all of that stuff and get to the real organic content, that's where you want to be found. And it really doesn't matter if you're a flooring company or if you're a grocery store or a bank. It really doesn't matter. But if you provide services to people who live in that city, then why aren't you thinking like a local? That's the really underappreciated viewpoint that a lot of brands are completely overlooking. And what's ironic is it's actually easier to rank for some of those things than it is to actually rank for some of the industry keywords that you're actually in. So I think you've got to really focus on putting together a content strategy And so when we talk about content marketing, we're talking about the piece of content itself being worthy of marketing by itself. So if you have the 10 best burger joints in Miami, like, you could market that piece of content. What I mean by market it is push it out on social media. Obviously the real key when you're able to show up in those organic searches, you've got to have a long form written content, piece of content. That's how it's going to show up there, right? If it's below the maps, if it's below the directories like TripAdvisor and Urban Spoon and all that kind of stuff, it has to be a blog. And I can tell you from experience from our own business, and as well as for working with clients, when I say you need an authoritative piece of content, you need about 1,800 words. And inside of those 1,800 words, you need very specific insight into this very specific topic matter that you're talking about. So you need to understand, if you're going to write an article about the best pizza joints in town, you better have some really rock solid information, like truthful, real, like, okay, if you're going to go to this pizza joint, you need to make sure you try this pizza and this pizza, but I wouldn't order this pizza. Like, really demonstrate that you understand it. Like, you can't fake this. So understand that in order to do this, you're going to need to blog or write and post on your website at least 5 articles a day for a year. Yeah, that's what it's going to take. You're not going to just write one article and put it up there and then all of a sudden you're going to blow up the internet. It doesn't work like that. But the proof is out there, and the statistics are there that momentum and incremental growth of and exposure and brand reach for your website through local content written for locals or people who are visiting there who want to go find out, hey, where's a great place to have lunch? These are the kinds of content that your brand can be found. So really think about comprehensive lists like, places, attractions, outdoor activities, and make sure you update it every year, right? Like, best pizza joint 2019, best craft brew 2020, right? And make that a part of your editorial calendar every year to come out with your new list or your new piece of insightful information. So again, this is contextual, localized content that demonstrates that your brand understands what's important to the people who live in the area that you provide service and products to. So, and it really doesn't matter either, like whether or not you have a brick and mortar location necessarily. I mean, obviously, if you're going to try to drive traffic to a place that does have a storefront and brick and mortar, but you could serve a local area, but yet it's something that's done, through the web or through the phone. So I mean, regardless, the end result that you want to try to accomplish here is that you are trying to maximize your brand reach and influence in a specific area. That's the end result. And, not being blinded by this sell now mentality that is so incredibly short-sighted. And it's interesting, we've talked about on previous shows about, as a company, you need to think like a media company now. You need to think like a media company before you think about being a company that, sells blinds or, does pool repair or is a restaurant or a bar. You need to think like a media company first. And so media companies, like a television station is a media company. And what do they sell? How many times have you been watching the news and the weather station, the weather part of the show comes on, and today's weather is sponsored by ABC Roofing? Why do you think the salespeople of the TV station are selling the roofing company on sponsoring the weather? Because the weather is important to the locals, because they're trying to make plans for what they're going to do. And so this idea of local SEO content marketing is your way to take away the power of the local media company and put it in your hands, so that you're now the 10 best local pizza joints sponsored by ABC Roofing, right? So you can become the show yourself and not be the commercial. So I think this is something that really has to be thought through, and it's not rocket science, but it's again, most brands and companies are so focused on this 90-day window of what are we going to do over the next 90 days to increase. And I get it. That's a real issue that your company has. But if you're in business and you plan to be in business for the next 5 to 10 years, if you're not deploying this long-term strategy, you are really selling yourself short. Because guys, let me tell you, the pipes, the funnels of the information that's on the internet is deep. It's really deep. But there's a lot of people, a lot of brands who are really trying to stay really so focused and narrow in these little bitty areas, and they're completely missing this whole massive pipeline with people that are, literally, searching and navigating the internet, and they're not even in that space. And that space is where all of their customers are. It's where all of their clients are. But yet they're over here, trying to influence them on, just the one place. Like, they're not thinking about 2 steps before that person thinks about making a decision to buy a car, or 2 steps before thinking about buying a house, or, whatever that item is, or maybe they're thinking about their retirement plan. Having these long-term content strategies in place has to be part of your overall digital marketing plan in order to maximize your brand reach and influence. So let's talk about tools. I talked about, again, I'm going to go back and if you want to see example of this that's true, is, again, pull up on a Google search bar, type in, best city space, and then see what shows up. And very quickly you can see 6 areas that you should create a blog post about and write an in-depth article, because that's what people are looking for, right? And then, they click on it and they land on your website, and on the sidebar you can put your special offers, $199 a month for our SUV or our sedan or whatever it is. So again, you need some tools, right? You need some tools for this. So I'm going to give you one of the best tools on the market. It's super affordable. $99 a month. You can go to Ahrefs, that's the letter Ahrefs, as in Sam.com, Ahrefs. And that is probably one of the most powerful keyword search tools on the planet. And they also have where you can kind of get an idea of where are these, performing keywords relevant to the area that you're looking for, and incredible information. And you can look at, how your site is ranking on things. You can look at an audit for your site. You can look at, the content and keyword explorer. You can look at and set up alerts. You can, do a competitor analysis, site analysis. So an incredible tool, $100 a month, and literally, like, it's almost like having a virtual AI as your assistant for $100 a month. Super cheap, and an incredible value for your business to be able to have a informative data and analysis platform for you to be able to understand what's happening in the search space and how your brand can benefit from engaging and publishing content on a high frequency in order to maximize your brand reach and influence. I think the next strategy that you want to deploy when you're thinking about local SEO and content marketing is, okay, so now you're writing these 5 blog posts a month, 5 blog posts a week. You know, you're writing 1,800 words at a time. Then what you need to do is take that and create a video out of it. Now, this is not rocket science. You can literally use iMovie, Windows Movie Maker, a very simple video process, and literally put together, you know, pictures that maybe you go to those locations and take, or like, you don't have to have actual video itself. You can make almost like a slide collage, if you will. Now, I mean, that's super low budget. Obviously, if you go on location and do a video of that, great. But you could literally, you know, narrate your blog post, if you will, as an audio that's underneath that, and then put in pictures with text that are overlay, put your brand logo in between it, and then upload that video into YouTube, and then get the embed code from that, put it in your blog post that you wrote about, and now you've got a video version of your long form written content. Guys, this is gold. This is absolutely local SEO gold for your brand. You know, and at the end, you know, of that, you know, article, you have sponsored by, you put your brand in there, right? Totally fine. You own it. It's your content. So you can say, hey, we sponsored it, or created by. So it gives you that opportunity to have your brand, have your logo, you know, right in front of that. If you want to put a special offer in, you can do that too. The other thing to do once you've got this is make sure that you leverage social media teasers. So what I mean by that is on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter, you know, you could literally take a screen capture, pause the video, take a screen capture, crop it, save it as a JPEG, and upload it into Pinterest, title it, and link it to your blog post. Or you take that same picture and you save it, send it to yourself, download it to your phone, and upload it to Instagram. Or share it to Facebook just with the photo. You could upload the video straight into YouTube or into Facebook. You know, so I mean, getting it out there and publishing it across multiple platforms. Again, who's going to share it? Anyone that lives in that city. Everyone wants to know. Everyone's always looking for a recommendation for the best pool company, looking for a recommendation of where to go to eat, you know, looking for a great craft brewery, you know, place to go. And so, boom, you put it out there, you put the right hashtags there with it, you know, again, keeping it local and keeping it contextual for that audience, right, that you're trying to reach. And lastly, I think the local reach of regional brands, this is really underutilized. You know, so if you've got a brand that has multiple locations, let's say you own a bank and you've got 19 locations in a 3-state area, but yet the branding that you're doing, you're buying billboards, you're buying TV spots, you're doing radio ads, but you're not writing one single piece of content. You're only wanting to show up when someone says bank near me or something of that nature. You are completely missing the boat, because you could be providing greater value by having your marketing strategy team put together localized content based on the interest that's most important to the people in the community where you have your locations. And through that, the actual brand reach and influence of that location in that city will elevate. People will find it when they weren't even looking for a bank, but then you provided greater value to them because you've created this list of the top 25 you know, places to buy the best Pinot Noir in the city. Now again, people who are short, businesses that are short-sighted and like, we've got to sell X amount of widgets in 90 days, they're not gonna understand this concept. They're like, you want us to write a marketing blog about the best burger joints? We're trying to sell luxury homes here. Yeah, well, guess what? People who buy luxury homes eat hamburgers. So you're grossly underestimating content marketing at the local level. It doesn't matter if you're a local brand, a regional brand, or a national brand. Leveraging this type of content on your website so that it can be indexed is a great secret sauce, if you will, for maximizing brand reach and influence. So again, just to recap, the idea is publish 5 blog posts a week, 1,800 words per post. Write about, and you can shuffle, your industry related blog posts that are about, best luxury cars in the market or the best things that we have, right? And you can write about content that is industry specific, but then also have a mix of that very localized, what's important to the community that we've got, and then have that part of your editorial calendar. Make sure that you understand, what those areas of interest are, attractions, outdoor activities. Make sure you have that annual, edition that you publish, because it can really make a difference. Always make sure you've got a great tool at your hand. ahrefs.com, super, powerful tool, very, very affordable for brands. And then don't forget to make your social media teasers so that you can really publish and promote this content that you're creating. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week. My name is Michael Wynn. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you next week.